How we doing, y'all? Welcome to my podcast, which is where I watched it. I don't know why I'm acting like this is the first introduction, because I definitely have episodes up here. It's just been a minute, so it's been a minute. When I say a minute, it's been like 2, maybe 3 months. No bullshit aside. But y'all, life been crazy. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've had a lot of mental things that I've had to think about. Going from family health, friends passing away, and job, money being slow, all kind of stuff, so it's just been a little rocky for me at the moment. And I also broke my laptop, and that was also a thing that was kind of slowing me down. I actually have a couple episodes recorded that I have not released yet. It's mainly only audio, so it's not really a visual thing. I just haven't edited it because after I broke my laptop, I kind of got it. I was like, I was so frustrated about a lot of things, and I just wanted some shit to slow down. So I actually was okay, but now that I have my laptop back, I feel like a gift to myself is to actually start the visual process of this podcast. So that's what we're doing today. All right. With that being said, welcome to Raw Watched It. We actually have a couple things on the agenda, on the docket. What am I gonna say? I think I'm gonna say we have a couple things on the now showing list, because most of these movies will be now showing, and essentially y'all coming to see me talk about it, which is what we're now showing. So we have a couple movies on the now showing list. I do want to say thank y'all for everybody who's ever given me a recommendation. Thank you so much, because I have them written down, and I'm gonna watch them. I'm probably gonna do like a recommendations episode, and shout y'all out. So thank you so much. That's my best friend, my cousins, my best friends, and my cousins. They've been sending me stuff, so appreciate y'all. But let's get into these movies though. There's a couple hits that came out in the last couple weeks, and truly, honestly, if you can't see, I have my phone. But honestly, truly, the movies that I want to talk about are Evil Dead Burn, The Odyssey, and Obsession. Now, y'all know me. I love me a good horror movie, so I'm always going to throw a horror in there. But I'm not going to lie, I haven't really enjoyed these 2 horror movies like that. And it's a little crazy. And when I tell people that, they're like, really? I thought you would have liked it. I'm like, no. And unfortunately, I am one of the people who gets the pre-notion of what a movie is going to be about via social media or the internet. So I'm actually going to probably Google what the movie is about. And that's always something that I've done just so I can get a pre-notion. And a couple of the movies, especially Obsession, I'll Google that one, but Evil Dead Burn, I have seen every Evil Dead from the 80s to now. So I love the Evil Dead franchise, and to see it, I was not gonna lie, I was kind of disappointed in it, but a lot of people said they love it, so whatever. But anyways, with that being said, let's get into it. So the first movie that I want to talk about is Evil Dead Burn. Alright, Evil Dead Burn is another faction or movie into the Evil Dead franchise. Now, this franchise goes back to the 80s. Now, the first movie was Evil Dead in the 80s, and then there was like Evil Dead Rise, also in the 80s, and then they remade it in 2013, which was Evil Dead, which was the best Evil Dead that they've ever done, in my opinion. So there's that. But Evil Dead Rise, which was the second Evil Dead that they did, that was after the sequel, was really fucking good. It was really good, if not top 2 in the whole franchise. So I was really looking forward to this movie being great, and it just... But we're gonna get into that. I just wanted to talk about the plot first. So the plot is, this woman, she's married to this man. He has his brother, mother, father, and sister-in-law. They're married. He's abusive. He dies. He dies via the demon that we have seen in all of the Evil Dead franchise movies. So that demon kills him and says, "Show me your family." He gets into the family via the son through the dad. The dad ends up getting the demon closer to everybody else in the family, and then the demon just goes rampant. That's what we know, that the demons go rampant in Evil Dead, so this is nothing new. But I just didn't like the way, per se, how it was like it was a different it was a different character for each character, and I didn't like that. Like in the previous Evil Deads, you could tell that the thing that was being passed around, the demon per se, was the same thing. This was not, because it was acting one way with the father, one way with the brother, one way with the mother, and one way with the sister-in-law. So it was like all kind of different. The only time that you actually ever see the demon be like in comparison to the previous movies was with the sister-in-law, and that was the only best part of the movie where I was like, damn, this shit is actually pretty good, because she was doing shit that the people in the previous movies would have done. Everybody else in the movie wasn't like that though. So the dad, he wasn't doing shit that was more so detrimental to himself. Because if you remember in the other movies, when these people get like infected per se, they start to harm themselves, but instead, and others too, don't get me wrong, and others too, but they start with themselves. And the dad didn't do that, and the son didn't do that, and the mom didn't. Like, none of these people did that. So it was really just like watching it was like watching something that wasn't Evil Dead, really. So it was a little it was a little rocky for me sitting there watching it. And I actually decided that I did not like this movie like that while I was actually watching it. Once I got to the end of it, I was like, this was kind of lackluster. And the thing that I don't hate movies that are not American movies. Let me clarify that. But I do believe that certain themes or certain things that happen in movies are tied to where it's made or where it's majorly shot, or who's majority on the movie. And with that being said, I think this movie is really a European horror movie. It's not something that I feel would be American Evil Dead. You know what I'm saying? Like every other Evil Dead, you could tell. Even if it wasn't, it felt like it. You know what I'm saying? Like in the 80s, the horror in the 80s felt like it was American. I'm not getting super MAGA and no shit like that, because this is not what that is at all. But I am just saying, like, it just didn't feel like it was made for motherfuckers in America. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And I believe the director is French or European. The wife in the movie was French and European. It was French, and the whole movie was surrounded around her. So it was kind of like just watching a French horror movie that was just tied to Evil Dead. It was like they just took the concept of Evil Dead and took what they wanted to do with a French movie, smashed it together, called it Evil Dead Burn, and pushed it out to the public. And personally, that's not something that I'm really for. Yeah. So I'm not really rocking with the Evil Dead Burn personally, but nonetheless, make y'all own decision to go see that. I'm not gonna say I recommend it at all. I would say it's a background movie. Truly, I would say that's a movie that you just throw in the background when you want to do something, and you might stop and be like, "Oh shit, what the fuck?" Yeah, you might hit one of those. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, it's not something that I would truly recommend you go spend your money on. Wait till it hits streaming. Certain movies you gotta wait till it hits streaming, and this is one of those movies. So with that being said, we're gonna rate that 6 out of 10. Not something that I'm too proud of to say that I watched. I'm actually disappointed that it's actually called an Evil Dead movie. I don't know, but it just wasn't good to me. So with that being said, Evil Dead, 6 out of 10. See it yourself, rate it yourself, and then I would love to hear from y'all about how y'all feel about these movies as well. So with that being said, on to the next movie. The next movie we're gonna talk about is the Odyssey. Oh wait. I always talk about some of the themes that are in these movies, and one of the themes that is in this movie particularly is self-preservation and the idea of letting go without knowing the truth. Sometimes you really just gotta let some shit go without knowing what's actually supposed to happen or going to happen. You have to be okay with not being in control. I've had to learn that lesson so many times throughout life. So with that being said, sometimes you really just have to learn how to be without control over certain situations, and that sometimes is control enough when that's all you need. And another theme in this movie is self-preservation. A lot of people in this movie were kind of fighting for themselves, except for the wife. And the moment she started fighting for herself, they like, it just didn't go in her favor, but it ended up going in her favor. Yeah, so the brother, he showed self-preservation when he left his damn girlfriend. And then the mother, she showed self-preservation the way she was like chastising the wife as if she's the one who killed her son, when obviously that's not what happened. And then she was just like she was a bitch throughout the whole movie, just because her heart was broken so much. So she was so focused on mending that broken heart of losing her son that she was putting anybody in risk just to mend it, especially the wife. So those are some themes that are in the movie. But moving on, now we're gonna talk about the Odyssey. Alright, y'all. The Odyssey is a 3-hour movie. I do want to preface that. So if you're not ready for a 3-hour movie about a story and that's it, do not go watch that movie in the theater. Watch it at home. But it will be one of the best movies that you've ever watched, because it is one of the best movies that I have ever watched. Alright. If you don't know about the Odyssey is about a man named Odysseus. He is married to a woman named Penelope, and they have a son named Timocles, I believe. And basically he's the king of whatever. He's the king of damn, I forgot the name of the land or whatever, but he's the king. What is it? Is it Sparta? No, it's not Sparta. What is it? Thebes? No, it's not Thebes. I forgot. But anyways, he's the king. He's the king, and he ends up going on being part of the Trojan War. So this is basically based on the true story, but not really, because it's based on the poem. So yeah, but he goes to war for 10 years. On his way home, he decides to go another way. When he goes that other way, he gets lost for 10 more years. And the movie is basically about everything that he experienced throughout the 10 years of him being lost. Also tying in the fact that he has not been with his wife and his son for the last 20 years. And the throne is kind of up for, I ain't gonna say up for grabs, because the throne is being held down by the queen, which is Anne Hathaway, Penelope. The throne is being held down by the queen, but people are kind of wanting her to get married, and her son is finally getting old enough to take the throne. So with her son being old enough to take the throne, and people have been waiting for 20 years to marry her, it's kind of getting real tense with who's about to take the throne. And that's essentially what is going on like a side plot with Penelope and Timocles and all these other people that are tied to Odysseus, but not the story about Odysseus. Now, I'm not going to tell you everything about the Odyssey, because I do want you to go see it, but I can't say it's giants, it's sirens, and people die a lot. And crazily, I'm not even going to lie to you. So, I'm going to say one of my favorite things about the movie is it's about a poem, but the movie takes you on different journeys. So knowing that it's about a poem/book based on that, I can imagine what was written while watching the movie, and can only imagine how that shit was actually explained in the book. And everybody knows that the books are better than the movies. I'm not oblivious to that whatsoever. And it's from somebody who listens to audiobooks that are turned into TV shows and movies after I watch a TV show or movie. So with that being said, yeah, I really did enjoy the fact that that the Odyssey takes you on a journey with Odysseus, and you just really have to sit there and like kind of watch him figure it out. And most people, I feel like, at least when we watch TV, we put ourselves in the shoes of the person that we're watching. And to sit there and try to put myself in the shoes of Odysseus, I'm like, damn, that's some crazy shit, because he had to go through a giant literally killing his men. He had to go through sirens literally killing his men, and then he had to go through like different wars. He had to be hid inside a horse. They were stranded for 10 years, dying on boats, actually fighting on boats, like all kind of stuff. So to actually have to go through that type of stuff and then have to go home and still like try to fight for your right as king, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, definitely go see it. The plot is amazing. Now, the plot itself is so simple. One of my friends was like, this is the plot of the Odyssey. Man goes to war. Man tries to get home. Man gets lost. Man goes home. So that's really the plot if you just want to simplify it as it is. But when you get more in depth to the story, that's when everything starts to unfold, and it's actually really, really, really fucking amazing. So I definitely advise y'all to go see that. Everybody in that movie acted their ass off. Everybody in that movie acted their ass off. Matt Damon played Odysseus. That man ain't lost it yet. And then you got Anne Hathaway playing Penelope. Queen fucking Anne. Are you kidding me? What the fuck? Anne Hathaway so cold with this shit. I realized a couple days ago, Anne Hathaway dropped 4 different movies, all different genres, and they all are box office successes. Do you know how cold that is? And she was quiet for a minute, so you should have knew Queen was queening when she was quiet. But a lot of it kind of went over a lot of people's heads. But I see you, and I see you for who you are.
You cannot trick me. You cannot trick me.
And you come through, you work for a year or drop movies for a year straight, and then you go sit down. And really, you wanna know what I think? I think that the reason why Anne Hathaway had to come out of retirement just a little bit was because Scarlett Johansson was putting belt to ass with these Marvel movies, and she became the highest paid actress for a year. And Anne Hathaway had that title for a minute, and she had to tap in. And she been banging because, do y'all know that the Odyssey is on its way to $1 billion? The only other movie to hit $1 billion was Michael. So, and it's only been out for a week. So it's probably most likely gonna hit $1 billion. Or maybe 2 weeks. But it's most likely gonna be hitting $1 billion pretty soon. And that's a notch under her belt. $1 billion movie. Do you know how many people wish for $1 billion? People wish for $1 billion franchise. Just to have $1 billion movie alone, one movie, is actually insane. So that's a notch under Robert Pattinson, Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Corey Hawkins. I think that's his name. Yeah, Corey Hawkins, that's his name. John Leguizamo, if I'm not saying that right, please forgive me. Listen, he's one of my. I really wish I knew how to pronounce that name. I love when he's in the movie, because if he's in the movie, the acting is gonna be so much better, and you just know that. But those are notches for all of them that they can have under their roster. And I'm not saying that these people needed to have anything on their rosters, but it's like, them is some heavy hitters. Them is some heavy hitters. And yeah, Lupita Nyong'o, come on now. Even what's his name, John Bernthal. Even though I've heard some things about him being a little racist or whatever, so I'm not really fucking with dude like that. And it's crazy because I liked him in The Walking Dead, but the acting was actually amazing, incredible. Robert Pattinson, I've never hated Robert Pattinson in a role besides now, and I was like, listen, and let me tell you how I know I was hating his ass. When I start looking at details in your face so I can talk about you, that's how I know you was pissing me off. And the whole movie, I just kept looking at his teeth. If you ever go see the Odyssey, look at Robert Pattinson's teeth the whole movie. I don't know if that's how his teeth looked in general, or in Twilight, or in anything else that I've ever seen him in. But in this movie, they was on my radar. Okay? They was on my radar. So, but yeah, Robert Pattinson did his thing. Tom Holland did his thing. Anne Hathaway, incredible. Like I said, John Leguizamo, incredible. Corey Hawkins was amazing. Zendaya, amazing. Charlize Theron, amazing. These people are like, these are actors who know what they're doing. So I'm gonna say 9.5 out of 10 movie. The only thing that really messed it up for me a little bit was the pace, but I saw it in a chair that was like shaking a little bit. Not 4DX. I do plan on seeing it in 4DX, but it It was like D-Box or some shit like that with Cinemark. So I enjoyed it, and that made it easier to, you know, kind of get through. But nonetheless, I still have to go see it in 4DX so I could see it the way it was supposed to be filmed. So we're gonna rate that a 9.5 out of 10. Definitely go see the Odyssey. That's a movie you have to pay attention to. So even if you have to wait till it comes out on streaming, which I'm not opposed to because it's already getting close to $1 billion, that's okay. You might have to take you a pause, go leave, get off, go watch something else, shit, take a nap, wake up, finish the rest, and that's okay. Because if I was at home, that's what I would have did. And I'm not even gonna lie to you. Out of a 2-hour and 50-minute movie, you're fucking crazy if you think I can take me a 5-minute nap. Especially after I just got off work, you're crazy. So yeah, I did take me a little. Throughout the movie. So so yeah, I did take me a little nap throughout the movie, and I'm always gonna be team nap in a movie that I pay for because it's my money. So period. But on to the next. The next movie that we're gonna talk about, and the final movie that we're gonna talk about, is Obsession. Okay, I'm gonna get to the plot real quick. Okay, Obsession is about a man named Bear who he had a crush on this girl named Nikki.
Now, where the is Nikki at? Where the is Nikki at? Nikki! What? Oh, Nikki!
And he essentially put a curse on Nikki through this like little snapping wood thing. And the curse, or the curse / wish, was that Nikki would be in love with him more than anything in the world. Unfortunately, that fucked his life up. And she was obsessed with him to the point where she could not leave him alone. And he was doing things, which we're going to get into, but she could not leave him alone. And it became to the point where she was obsessive and controlling. And he could not do anything without her being in the know or being there. And it just went left too bad to the point where he was trying to get rid of the whole idea. And it just wasn't going that way. Because unfortunately, in most things, once you put a curse on somebody, that's just what it is. Let's get into this though. Alright? Let's get into this. He put this curse on her, and she would do things that anybody would consider crazy, and he would then go and fuck her. And I'm just not understanding how that works. She chopped your cat. Okay, y'all have to watch the movie. But she chopped your cat up and made it into a sandwich. And you fucked her. She crashed boys' night. And you fucked her. She got mad at you about something. And was crashing out on you. And you fucked her. She lied to you about her dad having cancer so that you could emotionally be manipulated and in her face and like on her side and forgetting what you was trying to tell her in the first place, and you went and fucked her. So I just don't get it. I just don't get it. But I think that's the movie, that's a part of the movie that's the most enticing to everybody else, because in this movie sort of you have the woman who is killing people and things and being actually crazy, like bashing her own head, bashing other motherfuckers' head, blood everywhere, pissing on herself, throwing up on herself, all kind of stuff. She's doing all kind of stuff. You have this woman who, in any other sense of the game, would be the bad person. But you have the man who is also doing things where anybody would be like, why would you do that? Over and over again, he's doing things where anybody would be like, why would you do that? And I'm not going to say it's a slippery slope because he is the bad guy. But she's supposed to be the bad guy. You get what I'm saying? She's supposed to be in the bad shoes because she's the one killing people, killing things, chopping up cats, all kind of shit like that. But of course, everybody's understanding where she's coming from because you have this man, this grown-ass man, who put a spell on her. He put her in a position where she was doing those things. And I need y'all to understand what I'm saying. He put a spell on her to make her crazy, and then when she started acting crazy, he just kept fucking her. And you know what I think that kind of nods to? A lot of niggas do that. A lot of men do that. A lot of men do things.
This.
Be nice.
I'm finding it.
It take you that long to
It
find
does. It does.
Where it's a little weird, because you know that you shouldn't be fucking with this girl, but you can't leave her alone. And I get it. I get it. We all have our obsessions. We all have our obsessions, but I mean, you just gotta know when to break that cycle. So yeah, the plot was fine. I think the thing that I did not like the most about the movie was the pacing. I think I really have an issue with the pacing of movies. I'm not even gonna lie to you, because it wasn't slow, but it was just like, I feel like certain things were just like a bore, you know? It was like a bore. It was like scrolling my phone, you know? And that's in a movie like that, where the way I just explained it, it should have been boom, boom, boom. It wasn't that. I feel like the thing that carried the movie the most was the way that the girl Nikki was acting. I don't know the name of the actress who plays her. However, she was amazing. And I feel like she kind of carried the movie to what it was. And to her benefit and to their benefit, it actually helped them rake in damn near $500 million. If not more, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah. Shout out to her. I would personally rate that an 8 out of 10. I'm taking points off for the pacing. And I'm taking points off for I guess just the pace of everybody else, and you know the just the pace of everybody else. You know, it wasn't a movie that I can say that I was like super excited to watch. There were moments where I was like, damn, that was good, that was crazy, that was you know, there were moments like that. Don't get me wrong, there were moments like that, but it's just not something that I was like, oh, I would recommend this to everybody. You know, it's not a. And Sinners is I guess the totem pole, but it wasn't a Sinners for me, and Sinners gonna always do it for me. So yeah, I would give that an 8 out of 10 though. I would definitely say watch it. Watch that with friends, cause that's something where y'all gonna be like, what the fuck? That's one of those. Get you high, get high with a friend and watch that. That's one of those. So, but yeah, I do want to say once again, thank y'all for stopping by. Thank y'all for rocking with me. Thank y'all for sending me stuff. Thank y'all for being patient with me. I'm also a producer to another podcast, and that's also something that I've been working on. I had my own 4 or 5 episodes, so I wanted to give that person 4 or 5 episodes before I broke my laptop. But fortunately, I just finished the 4th episode, and that podcast is my dad's podcast. That podcast is called A Second Chance Podcast. Go check it out. A2 ND Chance Podcast on YouTube. I am the producer there, and the audio, and sort of the co-host, but I only jump in when I have an opinion. Sometimes I have an opinion. So with that being said, go check that out. Once again, thank y'all for stopping by. Yeah, what they say? Hold on, damn. What they say? Millennials. Love y'all. Peace.